In this episode of Retiring Today, we'll talk about how to make your retirement plan recession resistant.
And strategies that may protect your portfolio during the next market meltdown.
We'll show you what low volatility investing looks like and why it may be a good strategy for pre-retirees and retirees.
Right now on Retiring Today. Welcome to Retiring Today. I'm here with Lauren Merkle and Abby Huntrods. Abby is an investment advisor. Lauren is a certified financial planner. And today we're going to talk about a recession. People talk about when it's going to happen. Well, we don't have the answer to that for you today. But Lauren and Abby, there are things you can be doing before a recession and during a recession to protect your portfolio. So Lauren, what are we going to cover today?
Well, what we need to do is be intentional. You know, you said it best. Nobody knows when this recession is going to happen. We can't say that we know the recession is going to happen in 2 years or 18 months. But most people feel like at some point down the line, the recession will happen. So how do you not only make sure that you don't derail your retirement when the recession happens, but also, are there opportunities that you can put in place, strategies you can implement now to take advantage of when that recession happens? And amongst a lot of other things, that's what we're going to cover today.
And Abby, we're really going to be talking to a very specific audience today. Who is it?
We're talking to, the individuals that are nearing retirement or already in retirement about some pretty specific strategies that naturally people implement when they're working and saving regularly to their different retirement accounts. But once you give up the W-2 wages or get close to that retirement date, then some of those strategies that you do without even realizing it, now you need to be more intentional, like Lauren had mentioned, and kind of build that out specifically to make the most of your retirement.
And this show is specifically designed for those pre-retirees and retirees because now that you're within 5, maybe 10 years of retiring or already retired, these strategies really matter because this nest egg that you've built is a really important nest egg to you to make sure you can achieve all the things you want to in retirement. If you're 30 years old, then this next recession isn't going to impact you all that much. In fact, it could be an opportunity because you're still contributing to it on a every pay period or every monthly basis. So this show is designed for those in the pre-retirement to retirement phase because now you really get one shot to get it right. And the mistakes that can be made are just amplified because of the less time that we have on our side as we go to and through retirement.
And it's so important to pre-retirees and retirees because they're really close to this hard-earned money rather that they've been putting away and investing. They're so close to making it part of their income, and that's a big piece of retirement success as outlined in the Merkle retirement method. So that's what we'll cover today is income planning. What else, Lauren?
So then we have the investment planning piece as well as the income planning piece, but then there's also the legacy planning piece as well as the healthcare long-term care piece. But today's show is going to focus on those three components: the income, the investment, as well as the tax planning pieces.
And the conversation is important because the markets have been doing well for so long and many experts are predicting a correction. So Lauren and Abby are over at the board now to talk about what you can do before, during, and after recession to protect your portfolio.
And the reason we're talking about this impending recession on today's show is because this is what you're talking about. This is when you go to your friend's house, when you go to work, when you go to your different parties. This is
turn on the news.
When you turn on the news, when you turn on our TV show. This is what everybody's talking about because we have not had this experience. Remember the last recession? They call it the Great Recession. It was so bad. 2008 is when we had the last Great Recession. Now, on average, recessions happen every 5.5 years, and it's been 11 years now since we've had to go through this. So everybody's just waiting for that shoe to fall and go through this recession all over again, except for this time, you're either 11 years closer to retirement or you're already in retirement, and you do not have the time like you did in 2008 to make up for these significant losses. So we're going to give you some strategies, and one of the strategies we're going to talk about is this dollar cost averaging strategy and how you can apply it to your portfolio construction to not only protect yourself against this next recession, but also potentially take advantage of it.
But let's take a step back first and talk about what dollar cost averaging is, because it's one of the terms that we throw around quite a bit, and I don't think that it's always fully understood. So if you are employed and you're contributing to your 401k plan or employer-sponsored plan of any kind, you're making regular contributions, either every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, And those contributions are getting invested into the market, regardless of where the market's at. So naturally, sometimes the market's going to be lower and sometimes it's going to be higher. But when you do have those contributions go in, and it happens to fall in any of these little dips or in a recession type environment, then you're getting more shares at a lower cost through that kind of dollar cost averaging strategy.
That's a really important point, because back in that Great Recession in 2008, that lasted 18 months. So think, when you were working through that 18-month recession, every paycheck, every pay period, you had money going in. As it was going down, it was going in. As it was coming back up, it was going in. You're buying these shares, more shares at a lower cost, which is why when we went back up on this ride, this is what everybody remembers because it was so good, and it's still good, then your portfolio just grows immensely because of all the shares that you bought on sale.
Yeah, and now today we're here and you bought shares down there. So it really is a powerful strategy. And if we can be strategic and cognizant of how we design your portfolio to implement some of the same concepts in retirement when you're no longer making those types of payroll deduction type contributions, then that can be really powerful in retirement too.
Most definitely. So let's show them a strategy, shall we? Okay, so this is a $500,000 portfolio. And what you're going to notice right away is we have two different colors, the green and the red. So the green is the safe, right? In the green piece of this, 200,000 of it is safe. You cannot lose any money. What's the red?
At risk. So it's in the market. It's going to experience volatility, whether it's more conservative or you're like to be aggressive and all in. It's going to fluctuate with the market depending on how it's invested.
Yeah, so it's at risk,
Yep.
and that's why it's red. It's kind of scary, ooh, right? But it doesn't, like you mentioned. So if the S&P 500 is down by 40, based on this design of the red, it does not have to be down by 40. It can be if you want to,
Yep.
but that's all part about building this recession-resistant portfolio. Safe money here, and then we design this based on your risk tolerance, your appetite, and what you're trying to accomplish from an overall performance standpoint.
So if we see a recession or even substantial, volatility, a bear market, a correction, what happens and what we can do if we have the portfolio designed this way is take a piece of this amount over here that did not lose any money when we saw that market pull back, and take it and invest it back into the at-risk side, which naturally, if the market's in, kind of a depressed state, then you're going to be able to buy more with the piece that you're investing from the safe side of the portfolio.
Yeah, so we didn't lose here. So we didn't lose. Let's take a piece when the market, so let's go back to the market. So now we're here, the market's down. We took a piece from the safe, bought back in here low, and then when the market does rebound, we didn't lose on that safe piece, and it rebounded with the market. And that's how we can develop that recession-resistant portfolio. So not only are we protected when we go through it, but potentially take advantage of it on the way back up.
And just to clarify, what we're not talking about here is market timing, because market timing requires you to be exactly right every single time. So a lot of times you hear people talking about, oh, I went to cash, kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right time to get back in. And some of the families that we've talked about this with have been in cash for several years, because again, in 2015, there was talk of a recession. So when you pull out altogether and you try to time your exit of the market and then your entrance back in, and you try to time that exactly right every single time, your chances of success are not very high.
Yeah, 2015 was that first time frame where people really started to get nervous, and a lot of people did go to cash. And so if we're looking back at our graph, right here's 2015, and if they go to cash here, what's the odds they're going to get back into the market up here, because everybody's still talking about this recession is going to happen, and they missed out on that entire portfolio appreciation. So we just have to be really cognizant. We have to plan appropriately, have a strategy in place for when the recession happens, take advantage of it on the ride back out.
We'll continue talking about the recession, specifically low volatility investing, when Retiring Today continues.
Are you overwhelmed by planning for retirement? Are you currently retired and looking to maximize your retirement savings? Not sure where to begin? Join us for our complimentary Passport to Retirement class. You'll learn how to maximize your Social Security benefits, save money on taxes, and leave a legacy that lasts for generations. Spots are limited and classes fill quickly. Call us today at Merkle Retirement Planning.
It's your retirement. How will you live it? How will you be remembered?
Will you be able to take me on vacation? Will you be there for my ball games? Will you teach me your values? You'll be able to play with me. Oh, help me go to college. How will I remember you?
Have the retirement you dream about. Contact us today.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We're talking about making your portfolio recession resistant. Lauren and Abby are at the board to talk about low volatility investing.
This is one of the topics that we talk about all the time in our retirement class, is because there's not been one time that somebody has came to us and they say, in retirement, we want our lifestyle to go up and down with the market. Has there been anybody that's come to you and said that? No, it just doesn't happen, because you do not want to adjust your lifestyle wildly when this next recession hits. When the market reacts wildly, you don't want to just sit at home and say, I can't afford to go to the movies. Right. I can't afford to go to dinner because the market's in the tank. And that's the importance of incorporating a low volatility portfolio. So what we're showing here is portfolio A, we classify as high volatility. Portfolio B is low volatility, and we're going to walk you through the difference of these portfolios, and then hopefully you take away some suggestions or some information about how to make your retirement lifestyle not dependent upon the market.
Exactly. So to demonstrate the difference between high volatility and low volatility investing, we have an example for you, and we have to use some assumptions. So even though we don't necessarily agree with a 4% withdrawal rate, that kind of rule of thumb is a little bit too general from our perspective, and it needs to be more customized than that. But in this example, that's what we're going to focus on, because that allows us to demonstrate the difference that volatility makes in income generation.
And I think it's important to understand why. Why are we focusing on the 4% rule? Because this is what a lot of people are using to provide themselves with income. So can it work? Yes. Is there a better alternative? We think so. Yeah. So we're going to demonstrate the 4% rule, which a lot of people have used because it's a rule of thumb, and then we'll show you potentially what might be better.
Yeah. So we have A and B. Portfolio A is the high volatility portfolio, like Lauren had referenced. So in year one, portfolio A earns a 10% rate of return. Both portfolios started out with $500,000. So based on a 10% rate of return and a 4% withdrawal rate, portfolio A would generate about $22,000 a year of spendable income. The alternative is portfolio B, which only earned a 5% rate of return. So it grows to only $525,000, generating $21,000 a year in income. So there's a minor difference there. But then let's fast forward to year two and see how that plays out on the downside.
Yeah, so right now we're feeling good. If we're the high volatility, we got an extra $1,000 of income from this portfolio as opposed to low volatility. So if this is year one, we're saying, let's go with the extra $1,000. There's a lot we can do with $1,000 over the course of the year. But as we go through a bad market cycle.
So we have year two, the high volatility portfolio in year two loses 20%. If we are going to stay consistent with our 4% withdrawal rule, then we are only able to pull out $17,600 for income that year to stay within those parameters. Because a 20% loss based on the higher portfolio of $550,000 creates an even bigger loss on the downside. So that's where the volatility factors in and impacts the income at the end of the equation. The alternative, portfolio B, only loses 10%, which is still painful because nobody likes to lose money. Yeah. But it's only losing 10% based on $525,000. So as a result, we can now pull almost $19,000 a year from the lower volatility portfolio because it didn't lose as bad as portfolio A.
Yeah, so with these two scenarios, portfolio B long-term is going to be a better outcome, most likely, than portfolio A. But is there a scenario that we can develop that can be even a better outcome? Because either one of these portfolios, whichever one you're in, you still lost income. You still lost lifestyle because the market went down. Here you're spending 22, you have to drop down to 17.6. Over here you started at 21,000. you have to drop down to just under $19,000. That's not really a good scenario, and most retirees don't want to go through that. So if you're incorporating either one of these, you can take a decrease in lifestyle, or you can still take out your $22,000 of the lesser portfolio, the $44,000, but there's a number that has to change when you do that. And that number is the 4%. So that old 4% rule of thumb, no longer you are adhering to, so now it's 5% withdrawal, which means you have a lesser probability of being successful throughout the longevity of your retirement.
Exactly. So neither one of these, from our perspective, are the best option. So that's why we brought along a third option with us today to demonstrate how we can generate income that is not dependent on the market.
And this is a strategy that we deem the Florine Strategy. What the Florine Strategy means is you take a piece of the portfolio and you lock it in. So when this market takes a dive, the portfolio, this piece of it, you don't lose on. In fact, you don't lose on it, but also it can generate guaranteed income, which retirees love, by the way. Yes. Right? Has there been any retiree says they don't love their pension income or their Social Security income? All that's guaranteed income. So if you take a piece of your portfolio and enhance your pension or enhance your Social Security with this additional income, so in this scenario, same $500,000, you take $200,000 of it, incorporate it to make it $15,780 a year of guaranteed income. But if you're looking to produce $18,000 a year of income, you have most of it covered from this. So whether the market's up here or the market's down here, you get that income guaranteed for the rest of your life. You still have $300,000 that's left to be invested. So if your target's $18,000, well, you take $3,000 out of this, which is not a 4% withdrawal.
Right.
Is only a 1% withdrawal, which is significantly better from a sustainability standpoint. And now you have $18,780 a year of income that most of it's guaranteed. And so you're only taking 1% out of the $300,000, which means that $300,000 can just keep growing when the market's doing well.
And as a result of that, this piece, more of it staying invested for the long run, then that's kind of our inflation protection, because it keeps up with inflation, taxes, provides the income 10, 20 years down the road when maybe $3,000 a month from that piece of the portfolio isn't enough to maintain your standard of living, do the things that you want to do.
Yeah, and think how more comfortable you're going to feel when this recession hits. When this recession hits with this type of portfolio, you still have your income coming in. The $300,000 is still important to you, but your lifestyle is not dependent upon it. And then you're going to feel a lot better going to the store, going to the movies, going out to dinner, traveling, still doing all the things you've dreamed of doing for the last 30 years. And you can really see your retirement dreams fulfilled in a much more meaningful fashion with less anxiety.
Now it's time for our Ask the Advisor question. We've got one today from Lynn in Des Moines. Lynn wants to know, what are the most conservative investment options in most 401k plans? If you've got a question that you'd like to see us answer here on the show, you can text your question to the number you see right now on your screen. We'll answer Lynn's question and much more when Retiring Today continues.
Are you overwhelmed by planning for retirement? Are you currently retired and looking to maximize your retirement savings? Not sure where to begin? Join us for our complimentary Passport to Retirement class. You'll learn how to maximize your Social Security benefits, save money on taxes, and leave a legacy that lasts for generations. Spots are limited and classes fill quickly. Call us today at Merkle Retirement Planning.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you're here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it. And leave some for those you love. So what do? That's where we come in. We are Merkle Retirement Planning, your personal retirement planners. From investments to tax reduction strategies. With our Merkle Retirement Method, we can help you reach your retirement goals. You worked a lifetime to get here. Let us help you enjoy it to the fullest. For a complimentary visit, simply contact us today. Merkle Retirement Planning.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. Before the break, we had our Ask the Advisor question. Here it is again. Lynn from Des Moines. She wants to know, what are the most conservative investment options in most 401k plans? If you have a question that you'd like to see answered here on the show, you can text it to the number on your screen. I've got Lauren Merkle and Abby Hunt-Rods here with me. They know the answer to this question because you sit down with families every day. You look at 401k plans, you look at retirement plans. And Abby, what would you tell Lynn?
Lynn, that's an excellent question. Unfortunately, the conservative options available in most 401ks are pretty limited, but there are typically a couple of choices. So most 401k plans offer a money market or a stable value type investment. The money market is essentially like cash, so not a lot of upside potential, and the stable value is pretty close to guaranteed, so maybe just a tiny bit more risk than the money market. There's also a lot of times a life cycle fund option where the risk is dependent upon your target retirement date. So if you set your target retirement date back 5 years ago, then they're going to be as conservative as they can be within the 401k plan.
Which is why, Lynn, never before has it been as important to take control over your 401k plan money if you can. There's this rule with most 401k plans that's called 59.5 in-service distribution privileges, which means if you're 59 and a half or older, you may be able to roll your money out from the 401k plan into your own name, your own control underneath an IRA. So not only does it give you more control over your money, but now from an investment selection option standpoint, you have a whole universe of investment options, many of which are conservative. So underneath the 401k plan, you might have 2-3 conservative options. Underneath your own account, there's a lot better options most of the time, and you have many more that you can select from to try to create the portfolio. And this is what really a lot of pre-retirees and retirees are trying to work through now, because they don't want this next recession to blow up their retirement. So they're looking for conservative options. Underneath most 401k plans, you're very limited. So if you have the availability of the 59.5, take advantage of it.
So someone watching might say, am I in a conservative investment? Where do I sit volatility-wise? So Abby, it's a great time probably to get an assessment of their portfolio.
It is a great time to get the assessment done. It's a great time. It's been a great ride, 10, 11 years of an up market. So if you're getting that much closer to retirement, if you're past the 59.5 age and you have the ability to take control of your 401k, your employer plan, now is absolutely a great opportunity to do that, because then you can reevaluate your risk tolerance, and not only your tolerance for risk, but also, if you are on the doorstep of retirement, how much risk do you really need to take in your investments in order to ensure a successful retirement? Because a lot of times we get close to retirement and we find that families don't necessarily need to take a lot of risk. So what a good time right now at a market high to take some of that risk off the table and really put yourself in a position where you don't have to worry about the next recession, because you're in a good spot.
And there's nothing wrong with taking profits. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking profits. What everybody says when the market goes down and your portfolio goes down with the market, what everybody says is you only realize the loss if you sell, right? Same thing when the market's up. You only realize those gains if you take some profits off the table and then protect them. So if you're one of those who has been taking a lot of risk or a reasonable amount of risk over the last 10 years, wow, what a win for you, right? Because you've really been able to take advantage of that market. But lock some of that in potentially, or consider it, so that you do have this pot of money that when this recession hits, that now is protected, and then you can get back into the market when it's lower, if that's what you choose is right for you.
So that's first on our list of takeaways for today. Go ahead and get your portfolio evaluated, see where you're at. Lauren, another thing that would really help when you do get the portfolio evaluated too is you can take out some of the emotion that people feel when they watch the stock market. I mean, they know that their portfolio is protected, or at least they know how their portfolio will react when they see something, maybe something come up on their phone that says a big dip down or a big dip up. It can take some of that anxiety away.
Yeah, remember back to the last Great Recession, 2008, the emotions were running high. Right, none of us knew exactly how bad that was going to get. We had legacy firms, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, that went bankrupt. Banks were going under. Every time we turned on the TV, they made it sound like doomsday, and really nobody knew how bad it was going to get. So Molly, when you're talking about emotions, taking emotions out of it, and now you're 10 years closer to retirement or in retirement, the emotions are riding higher than ever or will. And we had a scare. Remember fourth quarter back in 2018, it was down over 9% in December alone. So people were starting to wonder, is this it? Is this it, right? So the emotion level increased as the stock portfolios decreased. And what you really want to do is enjoy your retirement, enjoy the activities that you love to do, see the grandkids stress-free or financially stress-free, go on the trips, do all these things you've been dreaming about without having to worry about when this next recession is going to hit. So when you're at your friend's house or you're at your family's house, when you're at Thanksgiving and everybody's talking about how this market's going to crumble, you can say, yeah, eventually it will, but you know inside you're going to be okay.
And that's our second takeaway. Have a customized plan in place. Work with a professional for something that will help take away the anxiety as you look for success as you go to and through retirement. So we've just talked about the recession today, but when it comes to retiring, there are so many other pieces to the puzzle. Abby, a good place to get started if people are kind of sitting at home going, I want more. I need more information. Are the retirement classes that you and the team teach? Tell people about those.
We teach classes all around the metro, and they cover a little bit on each of the 5 components of the Merkle retirement method. We've helped hundreds of families through the transition into and through retirement, and we've boiled it down into the top concerns that we've seen as a general trend for everyone that's gone through that transition. So the income planning piece, the tax planning piece, the legacy piece, the healthcare piece, and then of course the investment planning piece. The retirement classes that we teach are going to touch a little bit on each one of those topics.
And one of the main benefits of these classes is to make this simple. So people watch the show, they talk to their friends about all these moving parts of retirement, and sometimes people just become paralyzed because it seems so complex. So we try to make it as simple as possible, easy as possible to get the planning started, and the best place to start with that is the retirement classes.
Okay, so if you would like to attend one of those retirement classes, there's information on the screen right now. That'll get you either to a representative that will call you back if you shoot us a text, or you can also call us the old-fashioned way, pick up a telephone, we'd be happy to hear from you. Or there's a website, we've got that too. You can sign up right there for one of those retirement classes. But another great resource for lots of information is this show. It's Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
Are you overwhelmed by planning for retirement? Are you currently retired and looking to maximize your retirement savings? Not sure where to begin? Join us for our complimentary Passport to Retirement class. You'll learn how to maximize your Social Security benefits, save money on taxes, and leave a legacy that lasts for generations. Spots are limited and classes fill quickly. Call us today at Merkle Retirement Planning.
From our family to yours, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. We hope you enjoy the show. We'll see you next week.